Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back. Today I've got another Death Knight leveling guide for you, this time for this Wrath launch. This is another solo dungeon guide. This is Blood Furnace 2.0 Botanica. This dungeon will be good XP from level 70 all the way up to around level 77 when you can get cold weather flying, where questing will probably surpass it. I've been doing this around 21-22 minutes per run, which is a little slower, but I've seen people who are doing it in 16-17 minutes. I am doing this at level 70 with no consumables, other than some potions that dropped in Botanica. I am playing on a fresh server, so I'm doing this in full brutal gear. If you have PvE gear, that would be even better, since I'm doing this with PvP gear with cheap gems and enchants, and cheap tank trinkets, as well as no buffs or consumables. You can definitely get this a lot lower. You can have things like a paladin parked outside the instance to give you buffs. You can go in with food and pots and goblin sappers, etc. Lots of ways you can bring the time down to bring the XP up. I'm just doing this as an example. Show you that even with none of that, it's still probably going to get you around 800,000 experience an hour. With those, it can easily go over 1 million. So the general idea is pretty basic. It really is just Blood Furnace 2.0 really. You want to pull one pack at a time, single target them down with Heart Strike and Death Strike, and move on to the next pack as quickly as you can. With this build, or one like it, you'll have very little downtime. You'll be able to keep your health up pretty well. I'm even doing this in Blood Presence, with improved Blood Presence too. However, Frost Presence is great later in the dungeon when things get a little trickier. And also it's just nice if you don't feel comfortable doing it in Blood. It makes things a little bit safer and won't really cost you much time or damage at all. So some things to watch out for. Protectors will put on a Spell Reflect when they get low health. As you can see there, I crypt myself, which was pretty funny. They can reflect Death Coils, Icy Touch, any spells like that. Doesn't really make a difference, you just Heart Strike them down when they're low health, but it is a thing. They also have an ability that does arcane damage. It has the Sinister Strike sound effect. You might hear that and see your health disappear. That is. They do that. Just something to keep in mind. They will do some pretty spiky damage at times. You want to keep probably above 50% health when you're fighting them. For these packs, you want to kill the Menders first. It's pretty self-explanatory. Kill the healer. They have a heal that they can cast. Interrupt that if you can't kill them in time. They also cast Mind Blast. You should not interrupt that so that you can be sure you can get the heal if you need to. The Green Keepers will have a cast. Time to time you can interrupt to take a little bit less damage, or AMS, etc. It does do quite a bit of damage, so one thing to keep in mind for all of this dungeon is a lot of the damage is magic damage. So while you might have a lot of armor, it's not going to do a whole lot in here. Peacekeepers aren't too crazy. They just do some casts from time to time. They'll knock you up in a completely safer work way. Peacekeepers aren't too much to worry about. They do magic damage. Sometimes they'll knock you up in a completely safe work way, of course. I should add for the gear that you do want to be crit capped for this through your defense and resilience. Otherwise you'll be taking way too spiky damage, and I don't think this would be very consistent or safe to do without that. And the ideal run for this, you would never leave combat. A little bit harder to do in practice. I'm not even the best at it myself, but that is the idea here. Just keep your health up. You've got talents, you've got Death Strike, etc. to do that. And you want to keep going from pack to pack. If you could pull one mob into the next and pull the next pack with Pestilence to spread your diseases, then it would be like the ideal pull. These Falconer packs can be deadly. I recommend using Icebound Fortitude at the start. The Blood Falcons will stun you. And I also recommend using a PvP trinket if you have it. They can chain stun you, and it does not DR. It has gotten me killed before while I was testing this. Other than the stuns though, they're not too bad. Kill the Falconer first, and then the rest. For any pack that has a steward, make sure you kill the steward as soon as possible. After a certain amount of time, they'll do an attack called Arcane Flurry, I think it is. It'll have a whirlwind effect. It does a lot of magic damage. And I've seen some guides say that you can outrange it, but I tried that and it did not work. You can AMS it, but it does a lot of damage. It will chew through your AMS. So just be sure to kill them as fast as you can. For this first boss, you can pull these guys in packs of 3, these ads. Sometimes she will pat to one of the ads in order to talk to it, which can be very awkward if you're currently fighting that boss and she suddenly starts walking towards you. What you would want to do is pull the ads to the corner there and kill it, and she will go and talk to the corpse, and hopefully you'll be able to get around her. But easier said than done, and I've only had this happen once to me. You see an opening, try and get by as soon as you can. For this run, you don't want to fight any bosses. You can skip every boss in here. It's much better XP that way. This room is where things start to get a little bit dicey. I throw on Frost Presence here just to get a little bit tankier. You want to kill the Botanist first in these packs because they are basically a healer. The Frayers are pretty squishy, so if you're low on health, you can kill those for a quick Vendetta proc. Chemists and Researchers both do a lot of magic damage once again. They can throw a Poison Vial on the ground, which is an AoE you should just kite out of. And they can do some other less avoidable magic damage. Poison does stack up to pretty high damage if you get multiple stacks on you, and it does hurt quite a bit. There are 2 packs of 2 with a Botanist and a Frayer that pat around. I would try to pull them solo and then maybe pull the last one of the 2 into another pack like this. You don't really want to fight them along with an entire other pack. But you do want to kill all of the trash mobs in here for the XP. Sometimes you'll get really low health And as Blood Death Knight, the best thing to do is just not to panic. You have many ways to recover that health, lots of cooldowns. Just stay calm, use them, and hopefully your runes come up for Death Strike soon. For the Geomancer and Frere packs, there are two. What I usually like to do is wait for the Geomancer to cast a spell. Ideally, they'd use the Arcane or the Fire one. In this case, he used the Frost, which kind of sucked, because the Freres become immune to magic damage of whatever type is used against them. What you don't want to happen is to open with a Death and Decay when they don't have their debuff, because then they'll become immune to shadow damage and you just can't do anything to them. You can't Pestilence, you can't Blood Boil, you can't Death Coil, you can't Death and Decay. They're just immune to everything you do. If you do wait and then let them get the resistance buff to a different type of magic though, these pulls are really easy. They're basically a free health pack. Like, killing them all will give you full health. Here's the Frere pack again. You can see when she has the Rain of Fire spell, they get immunity to fire. That's when you want to go in, do most of their health. And as they die, they'll give you pretty much full health from Vendetta. The Satyr room can also be a bit tricky. You can see here I accidentally pulled more than I meant to. I have to pop CDs here to stay alive. The Insiders can poison and stun you. The Herbalists can root you. Harvesters just kind of smack you around a bit. Now the Chandlers, you want to focus down first usually. Try to pull them when they don't have their big glowy buff on them. They'll do a lot of damage. You can face tank it if they do have it. They'll definitely use anti-magic shell. And just be aware that it does do a lot of damage. The Nethervine Reaper Satyr can put a debuff on you that reduces your stamina by 35%. It lasts for a minute, I think. The Insiders are usually the bigger threat, though. You can pull these packs of Satyrs in front of the boss. They are doable. Not too bad. Be aware they can stun you once again and poison. But I decided to skip them. I'm already over the lockout timer, so no need to spend even more time killing. However, once you get higher level and you start running this a bit faster, or if you're doing this, say, with consumables, it's better gear, etc. If it looks like you're coming in under 15 minutes, then those are more mobs you can kill, more XP, keep you under the lockout timer. These Gene Splicers have Death and Decay, a spell you should be very familiar with by now. And as you know, it kind of does a lot of damage, so don't stand on that if they cast it, or you can interrupt it. It is kind of hard to see on the ground. The Harvesters can summon extra mobs. They do give XP, I believe. So if you want to kill the Harvesters last in these packs, go ahead, why not? A little bit of extra XP won't make much of a difference. The mobs or a pushover, they won't change much either. Herbalists again can root you, which if there's a Death and Decay on the ground can be very bad, so either interrupt or AMS root or the Death and Decay. This room's not too bad. Just pull one pack at a time. Same as always. I kill the Fear Shriekers first because I think they're supposed to be able to fear you, but not one time did I get feared when I was in this room, so I don't know if that's a group thing or what, but just in case, I'd kill the Fear Shriekers first. But other than that, a very easy room, really. And we skip this boss as well. And that's pretty much it. There's one last pull to do before you exit. There are these packs of normal mobs, lashers on each side here. Or frayers, rather. There are these packs of normal frayers on each side here. You want to just AoE them down. They don't have a lot of health, so it shouldn't be too bad. If you don't kill them fast enough, you could die here, but just be careful. If you need to, you can pop CDs, but you shouldn't need to. Once one dies, you'll get the Vendetta, and it should be a snowball effect from there. Yep, just full health from one blood boil. Love that. There we go, about 21 minutes for this run.
I can't loot that.
You can loot, you get the gold per hour here is pretty good, probably around 250 to 300 an hour if I had to guess.
I can't loot that.
If you were looting, if you wanted to do that, it could definitely be worth doing that. Get some gold while you're leveling. If you want the absolute fastest leveling times, you would just not loot anything, of course. It does feel pretty bad leaving all that loot on the ground though. Not looting also saves you from having to empty your bags, although it's not a huge difference. The graveyard and the vendor is very close to the instance. That's one benefit of this instance. If you do happen to die, or you want to reset like halfway through with a Ghetto Hearth macro, which the Ghetto Hearth takes you to the graveyard now if you didn't know, then Botanica is one of the best instances for that. The graveyard is very nearby. There's a vendor right next to the graveyard, and it's literally like a 30-second flight back. Alright, so that's Botanica, Blood Furnace 2.0. I hope you've all enjoyed. I hope this has been helpful. It'd be awesome if you checked out my Twitch when Wrath goes live. I plan to do a 24-hour stream, or at least to stream it as long as I can until maintenance on Tuesday. I don't know what the deal with that is going to be, but it'd be awesome if you stopped by and hung out a bit. And I will see you guys in Wrath. Suffer well. Peace out.